Supermayor's landlord having a tough time getting a hold of her, even though she's usually sitting in a meeting, but we had so many meetings canceled, hasn't been able to serve her. Let's jump on in. Here we go.
Who owns a Dalton home that she leased to Mayor Tiffany Henyard has filed eviction papers. The South Suburbs, the woman who owns a Dalton home that she leased to Mayor Tiffany Henyard has filed eviction papers. She says Henyard has not paid her rent, and now she wants her out. NBC5's Regina Waldrop with the story.
We talked to Tiffany Henyard's landlord, and she says she came to this Thornton Township meeting Tuesday night hoping to get paid what she says she's owed.
We do not have a quorum, so we will not be having a board meeting this evening.
With Thornton Township's board meeting canceled, Janetta Hall will have to find another way to serve an eviction notice to Supervisor Tiffany Henyard, also Dalton's mayor.
So now I have to pay a special process service in order to get them served, which is more fees for me.
Hall says she leased this home to Henyard and her boyfriend in 2021. She says the last payment came in August. She filed eviction papers last month. She says she's now owed $5,000 in back rent plus late fees. She says the couple was a no-show for a Zoom hearing Tuesday morning.
The sheriff's been out here a few times to serve them. For a household that makes, over $350,000 a year, I'm asking for pennies.
Hull says she hasn't been able to gain access to the home or garage to do maintenance.
So I gave them 48 hours notice. And then I also texted them about 15 minutes before I got here. So there's a code on the garage, and then there's locks on the front door that were changed.
In a statement, an attorney for Tiffany Henyard told NBC5 no comment at this time. Hull says she regrets renting to the couple.
I don't think the money is worth it. The cash up front is not worth it. I would have rather rented to someone who, is an honest person and goes to work every day and works hard.
This matter heads back to court next Tuesday at the Markham Courthouse. Regina Waldrop, NBC5 News.
I got to be honest. I don't think it's all that hard to serve her because we watched this from Critical Smoker last meeting. Well, this was another meeting that wasn't a meeting because it was canceled. Here we go. Remember this process server?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm a private investigator. I got some book that says Supermayor. Inside, I have from the United States District Court, Northern District of Illinois, Hiram Ransom Jr. to you as both personal and in your role as mayor.
Okay, thank you.
Much
Inside, check. Give it up to it, huh?
Need to have clickbait, huh?
Anything else? I get sued all the time. I get sued all the time, yeah.
Just all the time.
What?
No big deal. No big deal. Just flicking off cases of lawsuits left and right. I mean, when you're a successful super mayor, that's what happens, right? That is what happens. All right. This Chicago Tribune. We're not going to go through all the stuff, but let's just focus on. She's behind in 2 months' rent, and when the landlord served her papers, she was only behind 1 month rent. That is not much. That is not a lot. So the landlord has really pulled the trigger quickly on this one. I mean, in my opinion, usually it takes a handful of months before people, get eviction papers. But 1 month, but now she's behind 2, and they've tried to file papers. The Cook County Sheriff has tried, I believe, 3 different times to serve her. So she is clearly avoiding, having papers served for whatever reason. And the fact that she has such big income, she has, I think, $287,000 in income. Tiffany Henyard does between the village of Dalton and the township of Thornton, and her boyfriend, her married boyfriend, married somebody else, Kamal Woods. He makes $100K, something like that, working for one of these governmental entities. So they make a crap ton each month, but their money doesn't seem to be going towards paying rent, right? During the hearing where she appeared by Zoom, Hall said that occupants have been elusive and that she's not able to gain entry to the home to inspect the property. Hall told Cook County Circuit Court Judge Carrie Hamilton that she went to the home on Saturday. The locks in the garage door have been changed. Now, that could be a violation of her lease. It very well could, because landlords need to be able to get back into their homes, right? You rent it for them and you've got certain rights. Hey, you got to give us notice. We can be here when you do your walkthrough, that kind of thing. But the landlord's got to be able to access their own real estate. And by changing the locks in the garage door code, what's going on there? What's happening? She told the judge that she wants to inspect the home's condition and also have work done on the furnace. All right, it's going into winter. That's not it's not a terrible plan. I would question that if it was, going into spring and we're going the different direction with the weather. Do you know who these, Hamilton told Hall that the landlord told the judge she might consider contacting the village for helping gain access to the home. And the landlord shoots back with, do you know who these people are? Do you know who these defendants are? Hall asked the judge, who said she did not. I have a hard time believing any judge in Illinois doesn't know who the supermayor is. I live in Bellevue, which is a suburb outside of Seattle. I mean, I've been podcasting on the supermayor, Tiffany Henyard, because so many people sent me the story and said, oh, Sean, you got to check this out. Just some insanity is happening in Dalton and in Township of Thornton. And this is the kind of stuff that's going on. So does Tiffany Henyard have a huge cash flow issue? I mean, if you've got all that income coming in, and you're a government job, meaning you're going to get that paycheck. It's not like she's working for a private for-profit entity that might have some cash flow issue of their own, lose a huge customer, that kind of thing. No, she's getting paid by the taxpayers. And so is her boyfriend, I believe. So the fact that the judge didn't know who she was, really? I mean, that doesn't seem plausible. Hey, maybe somebody at the village can help. Why would somebody at the village help them get in? If she didn't know that she's the mayor or the supervisor, why would somebody at the village help her get into her own home? You know what I mean? I mean, it's like there's so many holes in all these stories that you're just left with. That doesn't make a lot of sense here. Neither Henyard nor Woods were in court or appeared via Zoom, and no attorney appeared on their behalf. All right. So what's going on there? What is that an indication of? Because when you don't show up for your hearing, here in King County, oftentimes you get a judgment against you. It's like, okay, I didn't show up. That's admittance of guilt. Boom. You owe $5,000. It's entered into the recorder's office, right? And no attorney? Well, probably they haven't hired an attorney for the eviction notice because they figure they'll just kind of stall this thing out. And, maybe they don't pay rent for as many months as it can take because eviction notice and eviction process, that can take a while. Now, the fact that the landlord's getting a hearing here that quickly, she just filed last month. She's already got one hearing and she said, I believe this is the second hearing. And now that Tiffany Henyard isn't showing up, why is she not showing up? I mean, she's the mayor. It looks terrible. So it's an admittance of guilt. If you don't show up, you can't say your piece. The other side gets to say theirs, and that's all that's on the record. Hey, they owe me $5,000, but she can't even serve her. Court records show Cook County Sheriff's Police have attempted to serve papers to Henyard and Woods' home, Henyard's and Woods, both at the home and at Dalton Village Hall without success. Bo Brindley, Chicago attorney representing Henyard on other matters, previously said the complaint by the landlord, this was last month, the landlord is not brought in good faith and that no proof of missed payment can be produced as no payment has ever been missed. Well, what is the landlord supposed to create a document and says, hey, she'd missed her payment? No, it's on the tenant to prove that they paid. That's what should have happened if Tiffany Henyard actually paid September and paid October, then there wouldn't be an issue, right? And she shortchanged another month by $200? Reached Tuesday, Brindley said he is not representing the mayor on any eviction matter. But he just handles all of her other legal issues that she's got plenty of going on. Hamilton said October 29th is the next hearing date. Court filings indicate Henyard and Woods had paid rent on a month-to-month basis since their lease expired at the end of May 2023. Not unusual. Automatically, the lease goes to a month-to-month deal. Henyard is facing, we got the challenger as a term as mayor. Subpoenas also, this is an interesting one. Subpoenas also seeking records related to Henyard have been served at Thornton Township High School District 205. At subpoenas at the local high school as well. Not only Village of Dalton, Township of Thornton, at her house, at the village hall, but also the local high school. Woods works for the township as supervisor of its youth assistance program, and a recent subpoena served on the township seeks records in relation to state grant money received for the program. Wow. They are doing a deep dive on all of this. Meanwhile, you've got this FBI investigation probe going on in the background. Now, bottom line, I do not believe, and as this drama continues, I do not believe Tiffany Henyard will serve any time. I know. It's not a popular opinion, but I don't see them sticking her to the wall as far as a huge guilty verdict. She has some very bad judgment, and maybe her ethics are a little questionable. But welcome to Chicago politics, right? I mean, this is not a new concept. How many folks actually do time? Well, you got to commit some pretty major crime. And I think Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard, she can say, hey, these people making these decisions, buying stuff for the village, buying stuff for the township, that wasn't me. It's not my credit card. That's why they wanted to stick her with her credit card, right? So that there's some accountability. And Tiffany Henyard basically says, no, not my credit card. No. Not my charity. I don't know. Somebody just took my likeness and my name and stuck it to it. So she's got all of these really flimsy excuses for why things aren't really the way that, as she refers to it, us clickbaiters, our YouTubers, why we are painting only one side of the story, but it's the only side of the story that has any plausibility to it. When Tiffany Henyard comes out and continually says, I'm going to show you evidence that I'm going to blow your socks off. I'm going to tell you why things aren't the way they are, why all these YouTubers are just using this as clickbait. It's not clickbait. This is actually the story. The fact that you didn't show up to a court hearing, the fact that you're late on rent. I mean, if you're not late on rent and you've got a receipt to prove it, you got a bank statement to prove it, hey, bring that. I'll record that. That's a story as well. That's a story that benefits you, Super Mayor. But we don't have any of those. That's the bottom line. We don't have any of those. But are the allegations of overspending, are the allegations of money from township being spent on the village, is, money seeding from Township of Thornton into the Tiffany Cares Foundation? Is there enough there to pin the super mayor or any of her folks? She spent a whole bunch of money on security. Okay, well, she can come up with a couple of, threats that arguably she needs some more security because, people are out to get her. All right. I'm not really seeing that. And I don't think you need those when you travel. You go to Portland, Oregon. Is Antifa out to get Tiffany Henyard, the super mayor? I don't think so. I mean, I have no reason to believe they are, but the super mayor, takes her posse of cops there anyway and just does her thing. The landlord's September filing indicates Henyard and Woods have refused requests for an inspection of the Harvard Street property. Why? Why are you refusing to let your landlord come in and look at the home? Have you wrecked it? Have you ripped out the drywall? That's oftentimes what the reason is. Or you got a whole bunch of other people living in there. I mean, I'm not saying that Tiffany Henyard's done that, and I have no reason to believe that. But it's just not a good look. When you're always talking about transparency and how we need to shed light on these issues, why are you not showing up for, court date? Why are you basically balking at having the home inspected? And the landlord is terminating the lease for non-renewal on the tenant's part, as well as non-payment of rent. And that the landlord has the right to do that. Hey, we don't have a lease here. You're out of here. And whatever the terms of the lease are, landlords needs to go through those terms. And unless I hear something from Tiffany Henyard saying, hey, landlord's doing this, landlord's doing that, then I'm going to go with the landlord that we saw as her version of the story is correct, because we don't have one from Tiffany Henyard because she's not saying anything about it. Now, that might be an indication she's got so many bigger fish to fry, right? As she said, she self-admittedly said, I get sued all the time. Whether it's personally or her boyfriend's got a subpoena looking for stuff, or, you got Lori Lightfoot's probe action going and you got the FBI's probe action going. Maybe the eviction notice is just, well, I make enough money and I'll just cut a check and we'll catch the landlord up at some point. Or the super mayor, Tiffany Henyard, has a real cash flow issue because she's battling off, so many lawsuits. And whenever you have an attorney that's rolling in and the attorney oftentimes is not being paid by the village or the township, Tiffany Henyard's paying those bills, and those bills rack up quick. When those people are, taking a mid-morning break, they're actually billing you, aggressive attorney. That's what they'll do. I was thinking about your case. Therefore, there was a 15-minute segment, 15 times 400, 0.25 times an hour at $350 an hour or whatever it is. I don't know what the going rate in Dalton is, but whatever it is, attorneys are not cheap. Maybe Tiffany Henyard has some major cash flow issues. I don't know, but that's the speculation without having any actual input from the super mayor, because she's dodging all of this. Oh yeah, no, even though she claims, I get sued all the time. Dalton trustees have complained they have been denied access to Village Hall and that locks have been changed twice in recent months under Henyard's orders. Yeah, I mean, this is business as usual for Tiffany Henyard, right? It really is. So as far as the actual amounts go, Hall says Henyard and Kamal Woods, the man with whom she lives with, who's married, have not paid the $2,400 per month rent on the Dalton home they lease from her for October or September. In August, she says, they paid just $2,200. Okay. That's weird, right? They shorted her a couple $100. Is that an indication that, we're going to pay most of it, but we can't come up with all of it? That's a weird move. And if they communicated to their landlord, hey, we're going to get you the other $200 in September. We're going to get you the other $200 in October. Okay. But when you stonewall a landlord, then the landlord has no option but to try to go to the house, see what's going on after giving notice. She gave 48 hours notice. No show. And then the court date, just no show. You don't know what the deal is. So for somebody who talks about transparency all the time, super mayor, and how everybody's out to get her, if you show up at a court hearing, it really looks a lot better. If you, have a conversation with your landlord who wants you out because they don't think that you're a good tenant, then you need to have that conversation, because you are representing your actions personally in your own personal life transfer over to what you do as not only the mayor, but the supervisor of Township of Thornton. You know what I mean? You can't just, what I do in my personal life is mine. I'm just going to screw a landlord and not let them into their own home. Can't do that. Transfers over. So I would have told the judge that she owes me $5,000 behind rent plus whatever the late fees are. And that's fair. That's fair. I'm still scratching my head on how the landlord didn't show up at the meeting and was able to serve Tiffany Henyard. How did that not happen? You know what I mean? Just so many questions. How did that not happen? Because the process server sat through that whole meeting and he was able to do it. So, but whatever it is what it is. In the footage that we saw of the landlord, I have no reason not to believe her. I don't know her from Adam. You know what I mean? Remember Adam and Eve in the Bible? It's, it used to be a thing, but it's still a thing for Tiffany Henyard. She's very religious. I mean, she talks about God all the time. But I don't think God would tell her, hey, just, blow off a court hearing and don't let anybody know. And, don't pay your landlord because, give unto Caesar what is owed, I believe was the quote from the Bible. I can't remember exactly how that goes, but I spent my time looking at the Bible at Bellevue Christian High School, Bellevue Christian Elementary, Bellevue Christian Middle School. Read a lot of the Bible. So Hall would have told the judge, but she said neither Henyard nor Woods showed up for a court date on Tuesday. No show. Court documents show Cook County Sheriff's deputies have tried and failed to serve Henyard and Wood with eviction papers earlier this month, both at the home and Dalton Village Hall. So, we heard the landlord say, I'm just bewildered. Same things that she's doing to the trustees, changing locks on offices. It's the same thing she does to everyone. It's not just them, Hall said. This type of behavior has to stop. That's not the way a public servant should be. Well, it's not the way a public servant should be, but it's the way Tiffany Henyard is. And I don't think there is anything you're going to be able to do to change that behavior except make that vote count. And I believe that vote is in April of 2025. So, but you know what is absolutely crazy? Tiffany Henyard had trying to figure out what to do with this. But there was maybe I don't have it up right now. Tiffany Henyard released a live stream on her Facebook account. And what is shocking is how many comments there are. There are some negative ones, but, probably a 10-to-1 ratio of comments supporting the mayor and what she is doing in Dalton. And I'm just scratching my head here thinking, are you kidding me? They love the super mayor. Granted, this is on Facebook where everybody that follows her is, a fan. And so, you've got this crazy narrative of where you've got comments that say she needs to be in prison. And then the next 10 are like, super mayor, we love you, keep trucking on through all of this persecution and persecution. That's not even a word. All this persecution, and don't let them get you down and don't let them stop you. You're doing the Lord's work. It's crazy talk. It's crazy talk because if you actually look at what the mayor is doing, is she's just getting in there and, blames everything on everybody else, says that she's going to come up with facts when in fact, we don't ever see anything. And we're just led down this road of, we'll get it for you. We'll get it for you. Hey, come to the village clerk's office. We'll show it to you. And folks do. And there's never anything. And, we don't have a budget. There's no set of books. You got all kinds of craziness going on. You got Lori Lightfoot coming in with her report. She did that report a while ago, right? What's come of that? Well, I think they're waiting for the FBI probes. They're waiting for law enforcement to make a judgment. And again, I do not believe that law enforcement will try and stick her with any charges. I really don't. I will be surprised and I will eat my words if they do. All right. That's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. I'll catch up with you in the next one. Bye for now.